Guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay Stevens, and I love everything ice fishing, and I love new gear. I love playing with new gear. This past summer, I picked up LiveScope, which you've seen me use in all my ice fishing videos. I love what LiveScope has done for ice fishing. It's just opened a whole nother dimension almost of what you can see underwater, but there's always competitors. Everyone's coming out with it now. Hummingbird's coming out with one called Live, which is gonna be out in, I think, April. Lowrance has dropped one called Active Target. This isn't the first time Lowrance has had this type of imaging. They had their first generation, let's call it, which was called, Live Sight, and Garmin's first generation was called Panoptics. It went from Panoptics to LiveScope, and now Lowrance is going from Live Sight to Active Target. A buddy of mine reached out to me and he said, hey Jay, I'm actually getting Active Target next week. He said, do you want to borrow it for a couple days and shoot some videos, get some impression videos? So I'm like, yeah, sure. Like I have no association with any electronics video, and that's why I love to be able to try everything, right? Yeah, I'm gonna give you my first honest impressions on Active Target. I took it out of the bag once and turned it on just to make sure it worked, but yeah, we're gonna figure this all together. I'll read off some specs to you guys. I'll tell you kind of the price point on it, and we'll use it ice fishing because I haven't seen any ice fishing content yet with the Active Target. So enough talking, let's drill a hole. I've actually never fished this spot either, so that's probably stacking the odds in our favor as well, but that's kind of secondary. First is just gonna be using the graph if we happen to catch some fish. That will be a bonus, but enough talking, let's get going. Let's open this sucker up. I'll show you what we're looking at. So instantly this package is a lot smaller because this is, I think, just the normal size Summit bag. I have the extra large for my 10-inch screen. This is a 9-inch screen. I'll give you a look here. There is the 9-inch HDS9. The HDS9, the 9-inch HDS9. I know that my buddy did some modifications on the back to make this fit. Had to do some adjustments to the bracket on the back. That's the live module, right? That's this same black box that that the Garmin has. So basically, yeah, same type of deal. You need to have a unit that's compatible. I'm not sure what the retail is on the HDS9. It'll be on the screen above me here. But I did look at the Live Sight module plus the transducer, which is what you're gonna need, which is an additional $2,000, very similar to the LiveScope. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think we just got to put this baby together and see what we're dealing with. Right off the start, I know that this has a screen recording feature, so I'm gonna share everything on the screen that I'm seeing with you, which will make it a lot easier. My EchoMap Ultra does not have the screen sharing option. I am very excited to have this, so I'm using the Lowrance Link app. All right, screen recording is working. I'm gonna put this in my phone, in my pocket. Hopefully that keeps going, because that's gonna be your link to seeing what's going on right here. So as you can see, it's just a lot of static. So here's the Live Target transducer. It is large. Can you guys see that? It's big. It's big. I would say it's bigger than LiveScope. Let's get it on here. This is the tripod mount. I don't know if this is, it looks like it's 3D printed or homemade. This looks like a camera tripod. This, I don't even know who makes this. This is just what I was lent. The key's not to break anything, drop anything down the hole. So as you can see, there's little notches on top that kind of show how things should be lined up. I'm sorry, this is so bright and tough to see what's going on. All right, I'm guessing this is the down or forward mode. I'm gonna have to look at my phone to see, but let's just drop this in and see what happens. I really got no expectations right now. This cable is thick. Just in general, any of these live options are they're just big and bulky. It says it's in down mode right now, so that's good. There's down mode, forward mode, and then there's scout mode, which is the same as perspective, which is, you know, kind of turning the transducer flat at an angle. But right now, let's look at our range. I think we're gonna be around 30 feet of water. So let's just zoom out to 30. Okay, so we can see bottom now. I have no idea how to deal with color palettes. We're not gonna do any auto range. Right now we're in like 27 feet of water. Contrast is 100%. Well, let's just do auto for now. Wow, you guys see that? That got really clear all of a sudden. Okay, we're gonna try forward mode now. So I'm assuming there'll be another notch here, so as I turn, it'll show me where forward is. I am told that the Lowrance has more elements inside of it, which it creates a smoother stitching. As you can tell, I'm not an expert on this, guys. This is just me looking at it for the first time. I've obviously looked at my LiveScope a lot. So right now we're looking forward 70 feet. 100 feet's kind of the max I can do on my LiveScope. There's fish. I've seen my first fish on Active Target. There you can see one right in the middle. Just make sure the screen's still recording. It's cool. It's cool. The screen recording's nice. It'll be a little more work to sync up later. But there you have it. All right, let's drop a lure down. Let's see how it looks. We are gonna, try to get on some fish yet, but I just wanna see how my lure marks. We are in forward mode now. I think I'm gonna switch back to down mode, and we'll give it a shot, guys. We will do some playing with the settings as we go. There's my lure coming down. Okay. Now we're marking the lure nicely. So I am noticing quite a big halo. I don't know if there's a way to deal with that, if it has to do with a harder bottom or... Okay, so I can zoom, which is nice. Just figured that out. So one thing I think I have noticed right off the start is it doesn't seem as responsive, and we're gonna have to do a side-by-side test. That I think will be the next video of active target versus live scope and see side by side. But right now when I jig, it feels significantly more delayed than the live scope. All right, well, you know what? We didn't see any fish here. There's lots of good spots nearby, so we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna try to find a fishier spot because I wanna see how fish look on here, obviously. I think on that orange color palette, it's gonna have a lot of definition. I think I'm gonna be able to see the outline of the fish very well, maybe better than live scope, I'm not sure. But we're gonna keep moving. We only drilled one hole. It's quick to move with the truck right now, so we may as well. And we still got, a couple hours till prime time, so. All right, another spot number 2. All right, let's get back to business. All right, let's get serious. Yes, as you can notice, there's a little bit of interference or banding there, and I think that happens just on the harder bottom areas. Like I said, we will do a comparison yet side by side to see how it compares to live scope. Yeah, you can still see the lure easily. Still looking for that first bite. There's a fish. Here's a big mark. All right, guys, here we go. Look at this big mark. Look at this. Yes. Oh no, I lost him. Oh, that was a big fish. Come on, give me another chance. Give me another chance. Okay, well, marked clearly, it came in. Super, super obvious. I have the contrast cranked pretty high right now, but we'll maybe play with that a little bit more yet. Based on that, I think I'll turn the contrast down maybe a little bit. Let's get back down. It is prime time, and it looks like there's a fish on the bottom already coming up. Look at this, guys. Look at this. That definition's pretty good. He's straight up at it. Oh, that drag was way too loose. Oh my goodness. That was not for effect. My drag was just way too loose. It's a decent fish. First fish with live sight. Everything's frozen. What do we got? Oh no. Oh, guys. Man, things were just frozen. Wow, today's not my day. I could have set up the shack, which in hindsight would have kept all my gear working a little bit nicer. It's a problem with drags when they get cold. Sometimes they're like real tight and then they just slide. That was painful. I'm sorry you guys had to see that. Clarity's pretty good. Like, this color palette definitely, the fish don't pop quite as much, but I feel like they have more definition, if that makes sense. See if we can get some redemption here. Oh, my line's tangled and I think there's a fish down there. Oh yeah, there's a fish. Look at this. Ooh, it's a good sized fish. Come on. Oh, look at him streaking back down. I can see the minnow head falling off. We'll see if we get another chance. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Yes. Ooh. Based on this, it looks pretty decent. My drag is so frozen right now, guys. If this fish tries to do any running, I'm in trouble. I think this is gonna be a decent walleye. Please, please stay on. I've had bad luck today. Ooh, that's a nice walleye. And he just flipped around in the hole. Oh, there we go. This guy is going back. It's his lucky day. But that's a beautiful walleye. And he was so cool to watch on the graph there. Going back. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Did you see how high that fish chased it? That footage is gonna be so cool. And I'm frozen again, probably a little walleye, not that tiny. That was ridiculous, it's a sauger. That was so cool. Here, let's get him back. Oh man. Did you see that? My hands are just frozen right now. This is absolutely killing me. We're on them. We're on them. Sun's setting, fish are snapping, and hands are freezing. Did I mention my cold hands yet? Uh-oh, here's a fish. All right, here we go. Try to do it with the big gloves. It's a small fish. Look at this. He's gonna be... Wow, there's a big delay there. It's so tough with gloves on. They're so small. Look at that fish. Oh man. See, little guy. Look at that high up fish. Look at that big suspended mark. Oh my goodness. It's a Loch Ness monster. Holy smokes. Look how big that mark is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Come on. He might be swimming over to the tip up. Oh, he's coming back for the jig. Oh my goodness, guys, here we go. Oh my goodness. My heart's just pounding. Come on. Oh. Oh, I thought he was gonna eat it. Oh, he just did a crazy darting move. Oh, come back. I think he's gonna hang around. I think he was interested in that. Oh, my heart is just pounding. I'm not just saying that for the camera. That was absolutely insane. Guys, I'm still vibrating. I don't know what that was. That was just incredible. Just incredible. That could have been a massive walleye or a big pike. I don't know. So a couple things I have noticed just right now is this screen does a weird jitter every once in a while. The whole thing shifts, and I've seen this on other brand graphs as well. I've seen this, I've seen it on Humminbird. I don't know if I've seen it on my Garmin or not, but the whole thing kind of like shifts. I'm not sure what causes that. I'm not sure if it has something to do with it being connected to Wi-Fi. And then the other thing is, you can see the stitching here on the right. It's kind of rough as well, where those different beams kind of connect to those different angles. So, I mean, like I said, it's tough to compare it without having live scope right beside it. I know sometimes the stitching's obvious, or a bunch of the times it's obvious on the live scope too, but I mean, that's just something that's gonna get better and better as the technology increases. All right, guys, that's it for fishing. I'll see you in the shop real quick. Welcome back to the shop, guys. We are warmed up, we are defrosted and feeling good. Yeah, let's go over some, I guess, some final thoughts on the Lowrance active target. I know I called it live sight a bunch. That's the previous generation. A lot of terms going around in my head, but yes, the Lowrance active target on an HDS 9 live. That's what we tried today. That was my first time using it, first afternoon. Obviously, the more I use it, I'm sure there's things to dial in. Like with anything, I think there's lots of room for improvement as, you know, the firmware gets upgraded on these units. They're always doing tweaks. So it's like what you get when you buy a product brand new, it might look very different, you know, months down the road. But let's kind of go over the product. And you know, this isn't a deep dive, in-depth review. This is just first impressions. So let's start from, I guess, some of the physical appearances. The deucer, the transducer, the magic right there. This is the active target transducer. It's big. Is it bigger than the live scope transducer? Maybe a little bit. This isn't the ice fishing mount for it. Summit, who makes this case, they also have a tripod mount, which is probably a little more sleek and streamlined than this. But anyways, as far as the transducer goes, you know, the footprint probably isn't too different. It was a little bit bigger on this mount, but on the new mounts, I think it would be fine. And then going on to the cord, cord's definitely bulkier. I found it a little tougher to deal with. It wasn't as flexible. Maybe that's just a break-in period, but really not a deal breaker, just something I noticed. I showed you this on the ice, but this is the module on the back. As you can see, it's about the same size as live scope, maybe a little bit smaller. So basically for the transducer and the live target module, you're looking at around $2,000 Canadian. This unit, I think, runs you, I think it's around $2,000, something like that. This isn't specific to the active target part of it, but one thing that I really liked was the screen recording capabilities. Being able to Wi-Fi connect this to my phone and be able to screen record. You know, if you're making fishing videos or if you just like to document your trips, I think that's a pretty big feature, because on my Garmin, I'd need to step up to the next level of graphs, which is like an extra, I think it's around 3,000 or 3,500 to get into that bracket that allows the screen recording. So, I mean, for me, that's a pretty big pro for the Lowrance. Obviously, it's a little more work syncing it up later in post-production compared to just filming with a GoPro, but then you're not dealing with any glare on the screen and you know, all of that stuff. But as far as the actual overall appearance of the image, the clarity, I think it was very clear, like seeing my lure, seeing the stuff around, seeing fish come in, that was no problem. But the couple things that I noticed I felt it lacked a little bit was the interference, that big ring that you guys saw there. Maybe on a soft bottom, muddy bottom, it wouldn't show up as much. Not a deal breaker, but I definitely noticed that. And then the screen did some shifting and some jerking throughout. Another thing that's probably gonna get fixed with a firmware update, but something that, you know, wasn't ideal. And then I guess probably the biggest thing I thought was different was also the delay in the jigging. I would jig, and then it would be a longer delay to see that lure go up and down. You know, when a fish is coming up to bite you, sometimes that fish has streaked up already, and then you're setting the hook and it all happens so fast, so there isn't much notice. Sometimes if you wait for that fish, and I've heard people talk about this when they're jigging for muskies, is that like you don't even want to look at the fish when it gets close, because if you're waiting to see that contact point with your bait, you'll have felt it on your rod tip already. So I would say a little more delayed. Overall, I think the live technology is superior on the Garmin, but I still think this is phenomenal. I think it kind of depends on some other factors on what you're gonna pick, right? So for me, the screen recording is amazing, but for another person, it might be the mapping, right? So depending on where you fish, what your home lakes are, you might have better mapping for Garmin. It's like, okay, well, if you're only gonna buy one unit and do everything, then Garmin's the answer. For me, I bring my Helix in my truck all the time on my snowmobile. That has Lake Master, which has all of Lake of the Woods in a 1-foot contour, which is really important to me. You know, if I'm fishing somewhere where there's better Lowrance mapping, you know, I know locally here in the White Shell, there's Angler's Edge Mapping, has a lot of the White Shell, Nopaming, just a lot of smaller lakes mapped. If that's what I was doing, well, then Lowrance might make more sense. So I don't really think that there's one right answer. I think if you're, based on what I saw right now, I think if I just went based specifically off the live imaging, I would probably go Garmin. But if the mapping was more important and I didn't have a separate unit, well, you know, I might go this, or maybe the new Humminbird Live. So I think as far as any of these options go, if you get any sort of live imaging, I think it's gonna like change your life and your perspective on fishing and, you know, what you learn about fish behavior and activity. So yeah, that's it. First impressions, I think it's awesome. I can't wait till the price comes down on all these units, but hopefully if we have time before I give the unit back, we can do a more in-depth side-by-side against the live scope and actually see some comparisons at the same time, looking at the same object, seeing how it looks at a distance. But yeah, that was a quick little video. I hope you guys appreciated it, and we will see you on the ice very, very soon.